The community came together in 1921 to build a new high school, and it was quite a big deal. There were two newspapers in Oakland at the time, and both of them boasted about what a wonderful facility this was, state-of-the-art, modern, and this was not something that a lot of towns had back then. And so the newspapers were trying to get people to attend. And on that first day, they had 160 students enrolled. And at that time, high school was kind of a luxury, so it wasn't something every kid went to, and so that was a pretty good number. So through the years, several generations of families went through there. My family is one of those. My brother and I were third-generation students. My parents were high school sweethearts there. And there were a lot of families like ours that just had generation after generation, even 4 generations and probably more. In 2012, they decided to tear down the old high school and build a new one. It was the right time to do it. There was grant money involved, and it was going to help pay to tear down the old high school instead of letting it deteriorate like some unfortunately do in some towns. And so some of us decided we really needed a chance to give the building a proper goodbye. It's a place we all made a lot of memories, a lot of relationships that lasted our whole lives. So we got this event together, and we had 382 graduates sign in that day, walking in through the high school for one last look at the building. Several former teachers, and people came from 12 different states just to have this one chance to walk through it one last time. So we put together a program with a video with alumni's memories, speakers, and we got an alumni band together to play the school song one last time. We estimate over 500 people were in the gym that day, and it was just seeing everybody stand and clap along to the school song one last time was just really emotional. You could see the emotion on people's faces. These were people who maybe were cheerleaders in there at one time, basketball players, just played in the band, had PE in this gym. They were taken back 10, 20, 40, 50 years in time, and it was just really a special thing to be a part of. So one thing we wanted to do to preserve the memory of the building was put up a monument. An OHS graduate, Gary Pearson, hand drew a picture of the high school on there, and it is absolutely beautiful. It has brick columns that are actually made of bricks collected from the building. Jim Craven, another OHS graduate, volunteered his services to put that together. And so it stands there as a nice little reminder, a nice memento for us who went there, and a way to show people, maybe these kids who never knew the building, they can look at it and see this was here at one time. Our community was very fortunate to be able to build a new high school. It sits right next to the grade school, just next to the lot where the high school used to be. And it's a very nice facility, just like ours, the old one was back then. They've kind of tried to tie in the old high school a little bit with the new one. They have the old scoreboard from the old gym in there. And in the old high school, we had old class pictures hung up, and you could flip through them and look back through the years, and that was always something we enjoyed doing as high schoolers. And I've seen the teenagers now looking through there, looking for their parents, their aunts and uncles, their grandparents, and just seeing who else they know in there. And it's just nice that they, even though that building's not there, they still feel that same connection that we all felt, and we're all still OHS graduates, and it's just a special thing to be.
April 19th, 1867, Ashmore was incorporated. In building near the timber area, it became evident that log cabins was the best way to have a house. Log cabins, being of wood, increased the risk of fire. So immediately the need for water and firefighting became known. Water was a scarcity and a necessity. And what happened is people would gather rainwater, and they would have wells and tankers, and they would bring water from their own personal stash to the fire scene to assist in having water. As firefighting became more necessary with the wood log cabins, the Ashmore village was able to acquire a pull-behind fire tanker. This fire tanker was manufactured in 1871, which we presently still have this unit today. What's fascinating about it is it was a 65-gallon water tank, and even more fascinating was the fact that it had a container on the top of the tank where you could put a glass vial with some chemicals, and you would put them in the top of the tank, seal the top, and it had a striker that would break the glass. When these chemicals met with the water, instant chemical reaction caused pressure, and thus we were able to spray water out of the hoses into the buckets and aid the firefighting. Over time, the communication process is rather unique for the fire department. This fire system with the 3 phones were red fire phones. They were in the house of 3 locations, and the children, myself included, were forbid to touch those fire phones. They had a button at the location of the fire phone where they could actually push the button and it would set the siren. So what would happen is the fireman would report, call the phone, say where's the fire, get the information and move on. So I witnessed this through childhood, my father leaving everything he was doing. When the fire siren went off, it was time to respond. So my interest was created through that process. So I actually joined the fire department in 1979. I worked my way through the ranks from volunteer to captain to assistant chief. And I actually was assistant chief from 97 to about 2005, which is when I retired from the fire department. It's not about fighting fires and being a hero. The fact that you're able to help somebody in a misfortunate situation and make it less painful, protect what property you can, that's what we're about. All of these chiefs, through their efforts and through their time of giving, pursued grants, and many of our trucks and many of our pumpers and where we stand today is because of their efforts in grant writing and getting that all cleared and the monies from that. When I look at the Ashmore Fire Department and what we have going on, it is revered by many fire departments in this area as one of the top fire departments.
Dr. Rutherford left an indelible mark on local, state, and national history as a friend of Abraham Lincoln and a champion of human rights with his work on the Lincoln-Matson slave trial. He arrived in Oakland in December 1840 as a bachelor. He came on horseback with his medical tools, a $10 gold piece in his pocket, and his skills as a physician. He started his new practice in this community called Oakland, and the year became 1847. His practice was going well, and he decided it was time to build a home that reflected his stature in this community. He was the well-respected physician, you know. He started building this home and told of bringing the logs up from the river east of town, but he was highly criticized. He spent $1,600 building this home. He wrote home telling his brother, John, about the fireplace in the house. It was so big, it would burn a wagon load of logs on a cold winter's night. 1847 again, huge year for the doctor. This was the year of the Lincoln-Matson slave trial. There were some slaves that ran away from their slave owner north of Oakland and sought out Dr. Rutherford and Gideon Ashmore. They were both Oakland residents and they were both known abolitionists. They wanted to seek help, to seek their freedom, because Colonel Matson had threatened to sell the children south, and that was a death sentence. So Dr. Rutherford and Gideon Ashmore came to the aid, and they hid these slaves, and Rutherford says, I've got a friend, and he's a circuit-riding lawyer. I'll ask him. We're like-minded. So he went up to Abraham Lincoln, and he said, will you take this case? Abraham Lincoln had to tell him he had already taken the case for Colonel Matson. I'm not sure they ever spoke again. That was a really hard one for Dr. Rutherford. This was a huge trial. There was 3 Supreme Court justices sat on this trial in Coles County in Charleston, Illinois, hearing this case. The base of the case was the slaves were in transit, but the reason Lincoln lost the case was because the slaves had been held there for 2 years. The slaves were set free, and Dr. Rutherford was able to help with that. At this very slave trial, this was so highly publicized and so many people wanted to see it. Harriet Hutcherson traveled from Springfield, Illinois to Charleston, Illinois to stay with her uncle. That was the only reason she was coming, to hear this trial. And of course, her uncle was a Charleston physician. So he knew the Oakland physician, and they were introduced. And Dr. Rutherford wrote home to his brother John telling he'd met this young lady, and he liked the turn of her ankle. They were soon married and had 9 children. 2 of those children died in infancy, but they also raised 2 black children as their own. They set up housekeeping in this brand new house that he had built, and as the house got full, he had to build the Pioneer Doctor's office across the street. And we've been told it's possibly the last freestanding Pioneer Doctor's office in the state of Illinois. Landmarks, Inc. came to be in 1969 when Harriet Crawford, Dr. Hiram Rutherford's granddaughter, gave us the property. Since then, the property has been solely maintained by donations, with the exception of 1 grant, and that was in the last few years. The complex is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and has also been listed on the National Park Service Underground Railroad for Dr. Rutherford's abolitionist work.
I started as a substitute actually my senior year of high school. I've been involved with the library since then. You know, the saying, like, you never work a day in your life if you love what you do, and that is definitely how it is. The library has been established since 1932. We didn't have a building back then. We were located at the top of the City Hall. It literally says in our history book, a tea was held. Members there were asked to donate $1, and then they were asked to donate a book. And then the memberships were sold for $1. But then in 1945, a building was donated to us. We are still in that original building. Since 1945, to 2021, that is 76 years that we have been in that building. We were just the Kansas Library. However, we are now the Kansas Community Memorial Library. We got that name kind of by accident. In World War II, a lot of our local citizens donated books in memory or in honor of men and women who served in the armed forces. So that became part of our name. And also, whenever people donate in memorial or in honor of anybody, that book stays in our library. Even if a book has not been checked out in 50 years, if it has a memorial sticker, then it stays. We have a machine there. It is called a microfiche. The microfiche can read medias, they're microfilms. The machine reads those, and you can look at old pictures. We have microfiche of our Kansas Journal. We have quite a few of them. It keeps them digital so we don't have to keep paper copies. We also keep yearbooks, and we have a lot of documents, and we have a lot of articles and scrapbooks. There are quite a few patrons that come in and still use the library today. I believe that we are very, very important to our community. Not only just to, check out books, to come in for company, but because we keep a lot of records and a lot of history from Kansas still lives in our library. And no matter what you are going through, no matter what the struggles you have, you're able to escape with a good book.
I can remember back in about '64 a little bit, Dad and Ed and a bunch of other guys from right here around town, they'd go out there on Sundays and I remember when they was putting up the white fence around it and they just got the grandstands built. I just was enthralled with it. I kind of always wanted to be around it. And when it first started, I remember going out and watching all the guys with Dad, and my mom would take me up the stands. I think there was almost 15 of them here from Ashmore that raced back in the day. When Mom and Dad didn't go, I'd climb up in the treehouse and listen to the races, because on the right day, you know, you could hear it. And I'd get up there and had my little radio and I'd listen to that. And actually back then they had an announcer on the radio that did it too. So decided I wanted to race, and my dad figured if I wanted to race bad enough, I'd build the car myself, and I pretty much did. And went out the first night. I was a senior in high school. I actually won my race first night out. I think that was probably a determining factor of why I kept doing it. But always had a good time, and it got to be a big family thing. I mean, we always took all my nieces and nephews, and now I got 2 grandsons coming up doing it. My son, he's raced probably 20 years. I think I've raced 40, this will be my 43rd year. I've ran several different classes. I mean, when it started up out here at the Speedway, I'm pretty sure it was only one class. It was just like everybody had their own street cars and they put bars in them and they went and raced. And now you got 5 or 6 different classes. A guy named Sonny Ross owns it now, but it's had several owners, and it's still the same grandstands there and same track surface. I mean, there's a lot of tracks that's closed up, you know, with the economy and the hard times, you know. And I'm glad to see this one still here.
And welcome back. This is our last segment now. We have just heard the last of our stories. We know you are as pumped as we are. We're so excited. We're having a party in the studio. So please pick up the phone. Our phone callers, our phone operators are waiting for you to call in right now and talk to them. So they want to hear from you.
That's right, and if there's a big busy signal, which it's a good problem to have, please keep calling. And we also have an option for you to give at WEIU.net. It's safe and secure.
Yes, it is. We want to give a shout out to Mary in Kansas. This is John Saxton's sister. Oh my God.
She's a hoot.
She is a hoot for sure. I love you, Mary Houston. And she was on our red carpet planning committee. And my goodness, we had a blast. It was so much fun.
Did.
That red carpet was like nothing I've ever been a part of. I mean, handing out Oscars to our 15 storytellers, and they are stars in our eyes, and that's why we're so excited to share this story with you tonight.
For sure. You want me to dive in a little bit? We've got Kathy B. from Charleston. Her husband is from Kansas, getting a little touch of the AOK magic tonight. We've got Rick and Sharon from Charleston. We've got Karen D. from Ashmore snagging 2 of the discs. She said she loved the stories about the churches, brought back a lot of memories.
Oh my goodness. And then we've got Ed from Kansas. He got a DVD or a Blu-ray one. We got Bev C. from Ashmore, and she gave, thank you so much. Jamie from Kansas, he got a DVD or a Blu-ray, so thank you so much. And then we got Pam Kelly from Brockton. Pam is an EIU grad. She's buying a DVD in honor of her son Michael and Brett's son Connor, who both are autistic. This is Autism Awareness Month, so what a special, special gift. And thank you so much, Pam, for calling in, and how great this is.
And we've also got one more special huge shout out to give for Lisa from Charleston. It's Dakota's aunt calling in. She's snagged the most so far, 6 DVDs.
Wow.
Thank you, Lisa, rocking it out for us.
That's what we like to hear.
And those phones ringing. We like to hear that too.
That's so cool. Thank you all so
Yes.
much for getting in here with us and making this the greatest evening. My goodness, the phones have been ringing ever since the first 5 stories came through, and the phones have just not stopped, really, and we thank you for that. WEIU appreciates the opportunity that we have to go into our communities to tell the stories of these beautiful people. We are so blessed with such lovely people in these towns, and these stories, everybody in the control room in there are saying, wow, this is so great. These stories are phenomenal, and they really are. They just touch your heart in such a special way. And so tonight, pick up the phone and call the number on your screen. Get your DVD or Blu-ray, or get it for a loved one. Father's Day, Mother's Day is coming up. Get
Graduation.
that grad for graduation. My goodness, that's coming up. Or just because you love someone and you just want to give them this special gift, or get it for yourself. So just get as many as you want, because we just love that, and it just helps us keep doing what we do.
And I think it's kind of a testament to this whole series, because you're not even from Ashmore, Oakland, or Kansas. Like, I'm from Oakland, so all of these like hit me in the heart just a little bit more. But to be able to reach folks like you, folks who aren't even from these towns, but you can make them feel something. You can introduce them to all these lovely people, their lovely stories, and it's just a blessing.
It reminded me of my hometown. You know, growing up in the hills of Virginia, in my little old town, it just reminded me because of that Southern hospitality. And I know here we are in the Midwest, and the funniest thing is these Midwest people are talking like me now. And that is just the coolest thing to me. I think that Mary Houston, she is so funny, just got the greatest sense of humor. And she asked me the other day, she said, am I starting to talk like you? And I said, you really are. How cool is that? So I just feel like I'm a part of these families. And that's how they made us feel. They just welcomed us with open arms. Like you see our set tonight, this awesome set.
Open their hearts and their living rooms,
wow.
their
to give
trophy
us
chests.
Their most treasured items to put on this. I mean, to trust me. Well, I've had these in my office for over a week, and they trusted me to take care of their beautiful treasures and to share them with you tonight on our beautiful set. So please pick up the phone, call, and get your DVD or Blu-ray tonight. One is $75, 2 or more are $60 each. You cannot beat that great bargain. And so pick up the phone and call. If it's busy, like Lacey said, keep calling until you get through.
Let's talk about a couple of those stories from the last segment. We've got Denny Schwartz, which is a bit of a racing legend around here, if you guys didn't know. I know that when I was the last going to the racetrack and had time for that dog on it, it was the Danny and Denny show. So him and his son were just like this amazing racing duo. And now the grandsons are getting into it, and they are rock star racers. We've got Rob Calhoun here. He does Hit Mix Radio for us. He's actually an announcer out there, and he can't say enough about the Schwartz fam and how great they are. But Denny, so stinking humble. He was telling us about all of the races and the fun things that he done. And so we've got huge trophies in the back there. And we were asking, so how many races have you won? And he was like, I don't even keep track of that. It doesn't matter to me. I think if you ask somebody, it'd say, you know, a couple hundred. It's like 400. So we keep inflating the numbers because we just think he's the bomb.
Oh,
but
he
so
is.
humble about it.
He really is. And the coolest thing, talk about a treasure. He let us bring his very first trophy to our set tonight. And that was just cool. He said, well, my dad said, if you want to race bad enough, build a car. He said, so I did. I built a car. And he said, and then I put bars in it, drove it to the racetrack, and won my first race out. And I was hooked.
Yep.
I mean, it's such sweet, sweet people, and so humble.
And we got some more sweet, sweet people who have called in this evening. We've got Myrna Bell from Oakland. She was my chorus teacher, former band teacher at OHS. If you were watching the OHS Memory Story, she was conducting the alumni band, leading the rah, rah, rah. She's a hoot. She was great for all of my musicals. Thank you so much for calling in, Mrs. Bell. We've got Judy C. Oh, it's Judy Coffey from Ashmore, Dakota's grandparents calling in. So they were the Growing a Legacy.
That is
another
so
great story.
Sweet. Oh, yes. I mean, when Tony talked about working out in the field all day long and then being so tired, but his son came with the football and they started throwing football back and forth with each other. I mean, these are stories that, I mean, this is just real down home love.
Well, again, it shows you the heart because he wanted to spend time with family. That's what was important to him, not getting the crops in or anything like that. It was making that time for family, looking forward to the next generation.
And you know, you can be a part of our family tonight.
Yes.
If you call in and order your DVD, you can become a member of the WEIU family. And you can help enable us to continue doing what we love to do. We'll keep going to these communities just as long as we possibly can and keep finding great storytellers to tell their phenomenal stories about their sweet towns so we can keep sharing them with you. That's what we love to do.
We love that our phone operators are so busy. I had an appointment with Kathy, and it's gonna wait because she's a very important lady. She's making that phone call for us. So again, if you're wanting to get a copy of Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas, this is our story. One for you, one for your mom for Mother's Day, one to share with your graduate. You can do that right now. You can get one Blu-ray or DVD for $75. 2 or more is $60. You can call that number at the bottom of your screen. Like we said, if that phone line is busy, please keep calling. We've got 4 busy souls back there. They're doing their best. If you just cannot wait, you can go online to WEIU.net. It's safe and secure, and we would love for you to support WEIU through this.
Yes, so please call in and talk to these storytellers. They are having a blast tonight. Everybody in the studio is just having so much fun because getting to talk to the people, it just makes it really real. Then they really know you're really watching and that their story really touched you. And so that's your way of showing them that you care. You care about what we're doing, and it shows us that you care. WEIU loves you. We're here for you. We are a big family, and we are, you know, the greatest thing I've found about WEIU? We are a family, and there's always room for one more. We love it. Our family's growing, and we love that, and we love welcoming new members in. So I hope we have a lot of new callers tonight. That gets me just on fire when I'm going through and looking, and it's brand new people tuning in, coming in, and being a part of our family. So thanks for all the calls tonight.
It made me smile from ear to ear. I got a text from my friend Ellen. She's living up in Chicago now, but she said her parents are watching. So shout out to the Childress clan. Thank you for watching. Thanks for grabbing a DVD. And again, making these connections, being able to come from my hometown, tell your guys' stories, it's such an honor. It's such an honor.
I know. I think every time we met somebody, Lacey was like, and I know them. And then we would meet somebody else, and I'm like, oh, Lacey, did you know? Yes, I know them. Those are my people, Wanda Kay. So how great is that? To get to go to your hometown and do a story. I mean,
very blessed.
Wow, very blessed.
And I feel like I have to give a shout out to Kathy back here on the phone because she's kind of part of the reason I feel like she spoke it into existence that I'm here. She was one of my Sunday school teachers, and she would tell me, like, she'd have me read a passage or whatever, and she'd be like, you have a good voice, like maybe for broadcast. And I was like, oh, no, please don't call on me again. But here I am. So another shout out to Kathy for making this possible.
Oh, and that just reminds me of Jamie Hopper's story.
Yes.
Oh my, didn't you love it when he talked about that he wrote it down in 8th grade? They had him write their goals down, and he wrote his goals down that he wanted to work at Walnut Point. And then he goes off and joins the service and sees the world, goes to U of I and works for a while, and then fulfills his dream and his goal, reached his goal. And that was working at Walnut Point. And not only working there, but we went and visited the other day, and right in the front, there's his house. So he lives there and is raising his family right there on those beautiful grounds of Walnut Point. So if you haven't had a chance to go there, I don't know. When I heard his story, I'm like, I'm going. Because hiking trails and a concession stand over there to get some good stuff. Lacey was telling me about ice cream with blueberry,
my parents would
blueberry
take me blackberry.
or blackberry drizzle on it. Oh
my goodness! After doing one of those hikes on a hot day.
Oh yeah,
chef's
beautiful, beautiful grounds. And of course we have Ollie the otter on set with us tonight.
I think I might be.
Are you in
Which
her
one
way?
I gotta
Are
scoot?
you-
I was trying to
Oh, we
practice a
have
little
to.
give a little pat on the head. Our pet otter on set. How cool!
So wonderful. Thank you all for making this night so special for all of us, for calling, taking the time to be with us tonight. You could be doing all kinds of things, but you joined us here at WEIU, and we appreciate that. Thank you for these beautiful storytellers that have come and shared their heart with you, and for sharing it with us. Thanks for allowing Lacey and I to be a part of this great project with y'all.
And we've got a couple more phone thank yous. We've got Stephanie E. from Marshall. Thank you so much for getting a disc. Bonnie S. from Ashmore. Thank you for getting a disc. And you know, this whole night wouldn't be possible without our underwriters.
Absolutely.
They get a thank you at the front of the show, at the end of the show, but truly, without their underwriting support, we could not do what we do. And that really means the world.
I'm going to name them real quick.
Oh,
if
sure.
I
We don't
get
want
this
you to leave
paper.
anybody out.
Get this paper to open up. These hands would work. Okay, our underwriters are Horizon Health Oakland Clinic, Prospect Bank, Ritchie's Furniture, the City of Oakland, the Village of Ashmore, the Oakland Hinesboro Charitable Foundation, the Oakland Area Chamber of Commerce, the Ashmore Community Club, and the Illinois Arts Council. Thank you all so much for making this program possible.
And really quick, I might try to snag a little hello with Miss Kathy back here because she's been so busy, which I love. So, Kathy, what has been your favorite part of this whole process?
Oh, I don't know.
Built by
I love
Owen
sitting
Humphreys.
down talking with you and Wanda Kay, but our reunion was pretty special.
I was feeling a bit. I was like,
you
we've
told
got a
us.
history together.
I take a lot of credit for your career.
Okay, got it.
All because of this lady. We thank you so much for being here tonight and being one of our phone operators.
You're welcome. It's been a lot of fun.
Good. That's what we want. We want some fun. We want some good stories, and we want to connect with these different communities. It's such a blast.
And sweet Shirley Nolan called in, and she used to live, or she lived in Kansas above the Oaks drugstore. And she said the racetrack was built by Olin Humphreys, and who was originally, or it was originally a horse track.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
See, that's the fun thing, too. We go to tell these stories, do so much research behind the scenes. Not everything makes it in. Like, Brian Watson had so much going on with his story, a great history of Ashmore and the fire department and everything that they did, and it just doesn't all make it in. So that's a fun fact. Another fun fact, I've got to shout out to Judy Duzan from Hinesboro. She was my elementary school teacher. She's the best. I feel like I'm going to cry.
She knows everybody.
Oh, thank you so much for calling in. It means the world.
Thank you all for making tonight such a great night. Keep calling in. We'll be here as long as these phones keep ringing. So keep on calling in and get your DVD and Blu-ray tonight. If you don't get the call in tonight, you can call me tomorrow and I'll be sure and help you with that. Or you can go on to our secure website, weiu.net, and get your DVD or Blu-ray to support this great project that we are so proud to be a part of.
Oh, for sure. One quick sweep. Does anybody have any other shout outs? Just don't want to leave anybody out. I know
Or do they
Cindy's
just
on the
want
phone.
a shout out? How great! Woo!
Hi, Mom and Dad. Love having some good energy in here. It's
Really
great.
do. And our sweet little 98-year young Wanda Rule is still in the house.
Rocking it
and
out.
just rocking
Yes,
this
Wanda.
show with us. We love her so much. We love all of our storytellers. We love our champions. We love our underwriters. We thank you all so much for making this great show what it's been. We are so proud to have brought to you the Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story.
Thank you.
Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas, This Is Our Story is brought to you in part by the Oakland Clinic is one of Horizon Health's 2 satellite rural health clinics providing care for all patients. Oakland Clinic Horizon Health hopes you enjoy Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas, This Is Our Story. Oakland Clinic Horizon Health is proud to be a part of the show and the Oakland area. With locations in Ashmore, Kansas, and Brockton, Prospect Bank supports all of the stories and storytellers in Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story. Prospect Bank is committed to service to all of the communities in our area. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Richie's Furniture is a family-owned and operated furniture store located in Ashmore and is a proud supporter of the production of Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story on WEIU. Richie's Furniture thanks those associated with the show and hopes everyone enjoys the stories. The city and residents of Oakland, Illinois support all of the storytellers and stories in Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story. The city of Oakland is honored to be a part of this historical program. Serving the Oakland area business community over 50 years, hosting events throughout the year, promoting business and tourism. The Oakland Area Chamber of Commerce supports Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story on WEIU. The mission of the Oakland Hinesboro Charitable Foundation is to enhance the communities of Oakland and Hinesboro. By supporting this show on WEIU, we hope it shows our commitment to Oakland and Hinesboro. A small town with good hearts describes the village of Ashmore. The village of Ashmore and their board is excited to be a part of Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story on WEIU. Enjoy the show from your friends in the village of Ashmore. The Ashmore Community Club thanks all of the storytellers and folks behind the scenes of Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas. This is our story on WEIU. The Ashmore Community Club proudly supports all efforts in Ashmore. Ashmore, Oakland, Kansas, This is Our Story is partially supported by a grant from the Illinois Arts Council, a state agency.